The debt snowball is the best debt payoff strategy. I'm just kidding. The Avalanche Method definitely by far trumps the Snowball Method. Is it hot in here? Is anyone else sweating, feeling confused? Listen, I get it. If you are at a place in your money journey where you are making minimum payments on your debts and you don't see an end in sight and you are just ready to pay these balances off once and for all, you may have begun doing a little bit of research and you may have noticed that one smart person says really smart things about one method and then another smart person says really convincing things about another method, and neither of these methods really sync up together at all, and it's conflicting information and you don't know where to start. And this is the sort of thing that could lead a person to just give up before they even get started. And we don't want that for you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and discuss 5 different debt payoff methods. A few you've probably heard of before, a couple maybe you haven't really considered. Either way, they're all worth discussing. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you which debt payoff strategy I believe is the best route to go. What's up, everybody? I'm Alicia, and I'm a personal finance coach who is passionate about helping people break that paycheck to paycheck cycle so they can finally find some peace of mind when it comes to their money. Okay, let's start off by talking about the Snowball Method. This is one many people have heard of, but with this method, what you do is you list out all of your debts in order from lowest balance to highest balance. You then proceed to go ahead and pay off that debt with the lowest balance, throwing any extra money that you can towards paying off this debt while still making the minimum payments on all others. Once this first debt is paid off, then you take every extra dollar that you were throwing towards your efforts to get that one paid off and you stack it on top of the minimum payments for the next lowest debt. And then you proceed to go ahead and pay off that next lowest debt. Once that one's paid off, the pattern continues. You carry all this money that you're putting towards this debt, stack it on top of the minimum payment of the next one. So the amount that you're able to throw towards your debts continues to grow while the balance continues to decrease. This is a really great strategy for people who like quick wins, because the hope is that that first lowest debt, you're able to pay it off fairly quickly, which can feel so good and so motivating and can really help push a person along to continue on their debt payoff goals. All right, the next strategy is called the Avalanche strategy. And with this method, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and list all your debts in order from highest interest rate. So we're not talking about balances anymore. We're just focusing on interest rates with the Avalanche method. So you're listing out your debts from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. And then you're going to focus on paying off that debt that has the highest interest rate, working your way down the list in a very similar way like you would with the Snowball Method. But again, we're focusing on interest rates instead of balances here. This method is known to be the fastest mathematically speaking. The caveat here, though, is let's say that that first debt that you pay off that has that highest interest rate has a really high balance. That could mean that it might take a little while longer to get that first debt paid off. And if you're not careful, this can really wear a person down, cause them to lose steam and throw in the towel because they're not experiencing any wins and it just feels like an uphill battle. So mathematically the fastest, however, got to be careful that if you do choose to go this route, you really stick with it, especially through that first debt, so you can experience that win and continue moving on. The third method I want to mention is a method where you pay off the debt with the highest payment, moving your way down to the lowest payment. So it's like the highest to lowest method. And this one is really good for those of us who have a really tight budget and you need to free up cash as fast as possible. For example, what you would do is you would find that debt where the minimum payment is the highest compared to all of your other debts. And you would pay that one off first, leaving hopefully a nice good chunk of money that you could now put towards your next debt payoff strategy. Or even if you need to use some of that money to meet another need that you haven't been able to meet because you had so many debt payments that you're needing to make, you could maybe use a little bit of that money to meet another need as well. Another strategy that isn't talked about very much, but I definitely think that it should be, is the emotional heaviness debt payoff strategy. And this one is really great for those of us who just have a debt that weighs heavily on our emotions. For example, if you're divorced and you have debt from this divorce that just makes you sick, maybe you could pay off that debt first. Say you have debt from the loss of a loved one and it just hurts to look at it and you just want to pay it off. Or on a positive note, let's say that you're a cancer survivor and that left behind a lot of medical debts that you just are like, you know what? I want to put that season behind me. I want to pay that off first. Or maybe you've just made some decisions in your life that make you especially cringe and it follows you in the form of a debt payment. Maybe you choose to pay that one off first. If that's what motivates you and excites you the most, I say get rid of that emotional, weighty, heavy debt first, and then maybe choose what debt payoff strategy you want to do after that one is paid off. And last but not least, fifth strategy I want to mention is one that I like to use with some of my clients. It is more personalized and holistic. We call it the SCORE method. So I've just listed 4 really great debt payoff strategies. And if you're thinking to yourself, all of those sound really good and they all really make sense, how do I pick one of them? Well, the SCORE method makes it to where you kind of mush all of these strategies into one magical debt payoff pie. I don't know where that came from, but it sounds good, so we're going to stick with it. So essentially what this is you're listing out all of your debts as well as their balances, like the Snowball Method, their interest rates, like the Avalanche Method, and then their payments, like the highest to lowest, as well as if they have any emotional weight, you'd kind of give it a score there as far as how much emotional weight it carries. And then once you do all of this, each of your debts would end up with some sort of score. You would then proceed to pay off the debt that has the highest score, working your way down to the debt that has the lowest score. That might sound really complicated and confusing to some people. It's totally fine. But if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, that sounds really cool, I want to try that. Don't worry, I'm going to do another video that's going to dive more deeply into that strategy because it's really not one that I can talk about within the time frame I have for this video, but stay tuned if you're interested. Another video is coming dedicated to the SCORE method alone. So I've just mentioned all 5 strategies. How do you pick which one to go with? Which one do I believe is the best? Well, I'm going to ask you a question. Which one motivates you the most? Which one excites you the most? So, as a quick recap, here are the methods I mentioned, as well as why you might choose it based off of what motivates you. We've got the Snowball Method. It's great for those of us who are motivated by quick wins. And we have the Avalanche Method. This one's great for our numbers focused people who just want the quickest, most mathematical way to get their debt paid off. Next, we have the highest to lowest method. So if you've got a really tight budget, you need to free up cash as soon as possible, this might be the best method for you. The emotional Heaviness method. This one is great for those of us who have gone through a traumatic season, or if there's just a specific debt that really stands out that just really irks us, maybe we do the emotional heaviness method. And then we've got the SCORE method. This is for those of us who want a more holistic approach, maybe a combination of all of the above, more personalized to them. That would be a really great approach for them to take. Now, if you need a little bit of extra help figuring this out, maybe this all is sounding kind of good to you, but you still are just not even sure what motivates you or what you're excited by or what really makes sense, go ahead and schedule a call with one of our coaches. We'll put a link to our calendar down below, and we would love to walk alongside you and help kind of bounce ideas off with you, organize your thoughts, figure out really what is it that makes you tick, what's most important to you in regards to your debt payoff goals and strategies, and then we'll help come up with a plan for you that'll get you moving in the right direction. Also, if you are just having a really hard time getting organized with your budget, with your finances, and just really have no idea how you're going to come up with extra money to pay off these debts, go ahead and check out this video where I walk you through the 3 bank accounts that I recommend using when managing your money. This strategy is going to really help you get organized with your finances, get intentional with it. It's streamlined, it's simple, and it's going to help you come up with some extra money to go towards your debt payments.